All right. So if I am going to go on YouTube and speak my mind, I've got to be prepared for people to comment, people to ask questions, people to hate, people to support. So yesterday I got this comment and I reached out to him. And if you look at the message thread, I said, "Hey, I'd love to speak to you because I don't agree with what you're saying. Is it possible for us to speak?" And I reached out to him on Instagram, and he was awesome. He reached back out. He said, "Yeah, I'd love to speak to you. I think that's the way we do it." And we both agreed that if you don't agree on something, be two human beings and speak. And we had an amazing conversation. We actually played in Iceland. I played in Iceland. He played in Iceland. We have some common friends, and the conversation just went well, and he understood my point of view, and he didn't even know about SoccerViza and how it worked. He just came across the video, but what a top guy for just, there's so many YouTube gangsters or social media gangsters out there that type something, but when it comes to actually talking, they don't do it. So yesterday we were able to do it, but I do want to touch on his comments because I think a lot of people might feel the same way, and I think it's a great point for education. So thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for supporting us. But before I get into everything, remember, if you like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share our content. We're trying to build a pro club. It helps us tremendously get the word out. It just helps us all around. So if you support the movement, please make sure to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and just keep us going. All right, so one of the things he said was the majority of college players are not good enough to play at a level. And again, after speaking with him, he understood my point of view. It's a game of opinions. I've played with guys that make a lot of money that I don't think are at the level. I've played with guys that make no money that could play at a very high level. It's a game of opinions. I had one time a director come out from Estonia, and he's the director of a club, and he's never played soccer in his life. Never. Was a basketball player, but got the job as a director because he wanted to be in the industry of selling players, and it was just entertaining to him. And when he came to look at players, I was like, my goodness, this guy doesn't really have a clue, and he's the one signing players. So you have to keep that in mind as well. It's not always sometimes about whether a player is good enough or not, because there's players, it's a game of opinions, and some coaches think a player's amazing, some players don't think he's not. So I've seen players where I'm like, at combines, like, you want him? There's this guy who's a lot better. But at the end of the day, scouts, agents, sporting director, coaches, they all have a different idea on how the game's played and what they want for their team, and we have to respect that. So you can't say that players aren't at the level. I mean, we placed a lot of players that went to small schools, but what about the big names that went to college and they made huge name for themselves? You look at JodabeniTV. He went to the University of Illinois at Chicago. It's a D1 program. JodabeniTV was the captain of our U.S. national team, captain at Watford. When I was in England back in 2007, he was in England. He was in England as well, and he was painting fences playing for a 7th division team called Northwood. He's making like £50 a week. That's it, like £50 a week to play. He got seen by Watford. Watford invited him in. He did really well. He signed a contract, so he went from being told by Chicago Fire at a combine that he wasn't good enough to play soccer and he should quit, to moving to England, to painting fences, to playing 7th division, to getting signed by Watford, captaining them, and then scoring the winning goal for them to get promoted to the Premier League, going on to have an amazing career and be the captain of our national team. So that's one player. And it goes back to saying, like, he played for peanuts. Nobody knew who he was, and he played for peanuts. Okay, let's talk about another guy, Miguel Ibarra. He went to Taft Community College, and then he transferred to a D1 school, I think. But he was a player for Minnesota United. I think he's still playing in the league now. But what a good player, and basically went to all these combines, got told no to getting himself on Minnesota United when I think they were in the NASL. Was the only NASL player to get a cap for the national team. I mean, that's amazing. Didn't play in MLS, but he got called up with the U.S. team. I mean, that's amazing. He kind of broke the mold in the way U.S. scouts. So I'm a big fan of Miguel. And he went on to play in the Mexican Premier League. I mean, he started, I think, at Orange County Blue Star as I don't know if that's an MPSL team or even if it was a USL team, but I'm sure he was making peanuts to where he is now is amazing. So it does happen. I mean, I can keep going on and on. Steve Clark, former teammate of mine, now he's in MLS and rated one of the best goalkeepers in MLS. He came to Real Maryland when I was at Real Maryland, and we didn't sign him, and we needed a goalkeeper. My man went to go sleep on a couch in Norway, his friend's couch, played in the lower leagues in Norway, went up to the top league in Norway, got onto a top division team in Norway, came back to the MLS, and look at him now, sleeping on a couch, probably making peanuts. So these stories happen. Tomer Chinsky, a good friend of mine, making peanuts. Making peanuts. We played together in Finland. He went from Finland to the top league in Israel to the top league in Sweden. So, I mean, there are players that are at the level and players that do make peanuts. And usually the players that no one knows about, and a lot of the players in the game now that are doing well, started off making peanuts. So it does happen. It definitely does happen. And me as well. I mean, I was making no money at Real Maryland, zero, while everyone else was making $1,000 to $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month. To me making $300 a month in Iceland, to making a lot more money through my career once I got transferred. So, you know, it does happen. So, respectfully disagree. And we spoke, and he understood where I was coming from. I mean, you look at Josue Soto, who went to California Baptist California Baptist University. I think it's a D1 program. And we were able to get him to Querétaro in Mexico. He never premiered for the first team, but he was loaned out to Cimarrones, was the captain of Cimarrones, wasn't on a lot of money as a youth contract. And now he's at Austin Bolden. He's getting his career started. He's playing, and I mean, he's a top player. So it does happen again for guys we've placed. David Sorobi, he went to Marist College. We put him at Spartak Trnava in the Slovakian Premier League. He signed a deal there. They did not renew his deal once it was over, but this guy went from playing at Marist College to playing for a Slovakian Premier League team who plays in Europa League group stages. So, I mean, it definitely happens. And I never try to sell a dream to the players. I put them in an environment where they can be seen by all different size clubs. Because sometimes someone will bite at a top club, sometimes a small club will bite on them. My job is to get them in front of as many people as they can be in front of, and teach them the realities of the game, where sometimes, and most of the time, you're not going to make the money you thought you were going to make. And it's going to take a lot of years to prove yourself, and luck as well, to get where you're supposed to go. Again, it's definitely possible. So, you know, a dream. You can't tell Conor McGregor that he was going to be where he is now. Okay, his career's taken a big downfall because of the decisions he made, but he was on welfare, and look where he is now. I mean, there's so many rags to riches stories out there in all sports. So it's about the guys that want to go out, invest themselves, sacrifice things, play for no money, play for the love of the sport. And then once they play for the love of the sport, their love drives them to be better and better every single day, which allows them to get seen. And when luck meets preparation, that's when things happen. So thank you so much again for the comment. It makes me better. It makes me help people. And I'm glad you were man enough to jump on a call with me and to speak about our differences and our difference in opinions, and then come to an agreement and say, wow, this is what it's about. So thank you so much. I wish you guys the best, and I hope this video helped.